Hey guys, Matt here. Just wanted to say thank you for downloading episode 26 of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. And I just wanted to give you a quick note that we were supposed to have Chris Spangle from We Are Libertarians on this week, but we had to reschedule him because some stuff wasn't ready behind the scenes. So he'll be on next week to talk about it, to talk about the fall TV season. This week instead, we're giving you a glimpse into our vault, which is a new concept for the show that we'll get into, that you'll hear about here in the episode. But it's a fun show. This was a really fun episode to record because we basically had no idea what we were doing, exactly how we were going to do it at least. So we had to work out some kinks in the episode. So I hope it's not too distracting, and I hope you guys have as much fun listening to it as we did recording it, because it was a blast. That's it. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Do whatever you do on Google Plus to us on Google Plus, all that good stuff. And also, if you could rate us and review us on iTunes, that would mean a lot. And also go to podcastland.com, find us and vote for us for Podcast of the Month. We would really appreciate that. Yeah, that's about it. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, questions, any kind of comment about movies or TV, send us an email at ovpodcast@gmail.com. That about does it. Hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you. Well, guys, welcome to episode 26 of the Obsessive Viewer podcast with Matt, Tiny, and Mike. I'm Matt at Obsessive Viewer, Tiny is at Obsessive Tiny, and Mike is at I Am Mike White. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so last week we mentioned that we were going to do the fall TV season this week on it, and we were going to have a guest, but we had to postpone that. So this week we're actually doing vault movies, which is a new concept that we're doing, that once a season we're going to do an episode like this where each one of us puts forth a single movie to put into the Obsessive Viewer vault, in which that it's like the pinnacle of cinema are these movies in our eyes. So that's what we're doing this week. And we'll expand on that a little bit more here in a bit, but just wanted to let you guys know that ahead of time. So should we get going? How's it going, guys, first of all?
Oh, it's going pretty good.
It's going well. I'm down from this Bears loss, so if I seem a tad downtrodden or sullen, it's because of the Chicago Bears.
There's
been a lot of that so far, Mike.
This season, yeah. I know.
Not to rub it in.
It sucks. Well, the Colts, they got slaughtered today as well.
They got spanked.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
By the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. That's to add insult to injury.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The Bears are just pretty mediocre, and I'm pretty bummed about it.
Sports. Crazy.
Sports. Hey, we watched them, we viewed them, and I'm obsessed with them.
That's true, yeah.
Might as well mention it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I just don't have any input on it. Yeah. If our listeners have any sports related stuff, you can, email us, but,
Yeah. Please do.
All right. Well, so let's get started on our topic. Vault movies. We kind of borrow it from some other movie podcasts. I think Film Spotting does it, and then I kind of like it was Tiny's idea to do this, and then yeah, and like I heard it on Title Pending movie podcast with Tank and Fogs, and I like the idea. I like it a lot.
So we're talking about our favorite movies from the Disney Vault.
No. Although I do remember going to like Circuit City when that place still existed and trying to find Toy Story and then getting so mad when they were like, the person working was like, no, it's in the vault, so they don't have it on DVD. Like,
yeah.
What? Like, I actually have.
Wow.
I'm looking at it right now on my DVD case. I have a like Chinese import of Toy Story and Toy Story 2, like the Ultimate Toy Box set.
Yeah.
from China that my parents or my brother got for me from eBay for Christmas that year. Then like a year or two later, it was released from the vault. So
really, what for the listeners? What is the vault? What are we talking about with vault movies today?
Imagine like a trophy case in which you put all of the best movies ever. And I mean, I'm not talking about like these aren't like, these are our personal suggestions, the movies that we can't really get enough of. Tiny, do you have like an expansion?
Sure. Some of the movies are also kind of like industry standards, like things that you would think of on a certain genre or a certain topic. They're just the first thing that comes to mind. Kind of, they're just kind of like Matt said, the pinnacle of filmmaking, the cream of the crop, and it's just stuff that, we don't even necessarily need to really think about it that much. We just kind of, we just already have this stuff in our head because these films have been so ubiquitous over the years.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Stuff like that.
So you mentioned to me, Tiny, when you brought up the topic, like movies we won't talk about anymore.
Well, I don't know about that. It's just kind of like, basically, I think that's kind of how Film Spotting does it. They basically don't mention like the standard movies, if you will, like some of the great movies. But I think, obviously they're still open for discussion. It's just that's kind of a tactic that some of the other podcasts have used. But I don't know. I don't think we shouldn't really put that kind of parameters on our
Right.
Everything's open.
Yeah. These are just basically, bottom line is, these are our movies that we feel are just as close to perfect as a medium like
untouchable movies.
Yeah.
Untouchable.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I think yeah. And like I said, we'll do this once every season. So each season we'll each have one to put in, and it'll be interesting because maybe we won't see eye to eye with some of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
this is very
cool.
obviously.
I think by the end of it, here's what we should do: is the three of us, we each offer one vault movie, and by the end of the episode, we vote by which of the three go into the vault. Now, all three can go, 2 can go, 1 can go, or none of them go, but we have to vote unanimously on each one, and if all three of us say yes, vault, that goes into the vault.
I like it.
Interesting.
I almost like saying just put only one in per season.
Pick one? Ooh.
That would make it more interesting.
I don't know about that, because then what if you got 3 really good ones?
Bring it up next season. I don't know.
So I'm going to talk about Star Wars for the 10th time. You guys, this needs to be in the vault.
Maybe we'll do 2 out of 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, keep it even, I guess.
Sure.
Okay.
How do we vote then?
Ooh.
Well, it's best out of 3.
Best out of 3. If it's unanimous, it's unanimous. Like we each pick 2 out of the 3. Well, I mean, we will pick one.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll put one in, and then Tiny puts one in, and Mike, you put one in, and then like say like you pick a second one out of our 2. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. For our listeners, this is obviously a very new idea. So all right. So first up, I think Tiny should go first because last week we kind of skipped over him a little bit on the space discussion. I am so sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put forth a movie that hopefully everybody has seen. If this doesn't make it in, I'm probably going to kill you guys. The movie I'm going to put forward is The Godfather. I mean, talk about, an industry standard. It's been, it's on so many different lists for the best movie of all time. So I think it's kind of a fitting choice for this first round here. If you've been living under a rock for the last 40-some years, The Godfather is about the Corleone family, which is a fictitious crime family, a mafia family, who controls the crime in New York City, and it's about how the family deals with their crime. They have Marlon Brando plays Don Corleone, and he has 3 sons, and it's just kind of about how they all deal with their crime. How I don't know, I'm not explaining it very well, but
no, you're explaining it fine.
You know what The Godfather is about.
It's the ultimate kind of power struggle, or it's like how the organization kind of changes up in the face of certain situations that arise throughout the movie. That's one thing, and how kind of Michael Corleone is kind of this guy who's been distant from the family, or distanced himself from the family business, and it's how he kind of rises to the Don title or whatever, and it's kind of how he gets kind of sucked into it, and
I think that's probably the best, in my opinion, one of the best parts of the film is the fact that Michael Corleone, played by a young Al Pacino, an unknown Al Pacino, actually.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah, at the time. One of the interesting things about it is the fact that he has no interest in joining the family business, in quotations.
Right.
He comes back from World War II, and he's sort of a war hero. He flew planes for the Navy and shot down some planes and stuff like that. So he's kind of a war hero. He has a pretty wholesome image, and just doesn't have any desire to be involved in the business. But something happens in the film, and he's kind of thrust into this position to run the family business, not just be involved in it.
Right.
So just seeing his evolution, I think Michael Corleone is one of the most interesting characters in all of film history.
I agree.
Yeah. Nice. Have you? I assume you've both seen it. I know Matt has seen it. Mike, have you seen?
Yeah, I watched it freshman year of college.
Nice.
Awesome.
What was your take on it, Mike?
Oh man, I was hoping you wouldn't ask. Of course, I'm kidding. I knew you would ask. I didn't get it.
Okay.
It was very early on for me. I know, freshman year of college, I should have been as obsessed with movies as you guys were, but I wasn't. I liked movies a lot, but I really only liked the movies I liked.
Okay.
And The Godfather for me, I just didn't get it. I didn't get the big deal. I really want to see it again, and I really want to give it another try, but I remember mostly just being bored with it.
Okay.
Interesting.
I
think part of what makes the movie so so standard and what people like it so much is the fact that it's, at the time, it was so revolutionary, because the La Cosa Nostra and organized crime in general was, people didn't know a lot about it. People didn't know that there was all this structure to it, that it had a hierarchy to it, and that it was, that it could actually be so influential in things like politics and law and just protecting a neighborhood and things like that. And I think the fact that it was made by Francis Ford Coppola, and it was starring someone like Marlon Brando, who was considered one of the best living actors at the time. People were shocked to see that kind of talent involved with a story like this that they had never really heard before.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, at the time in the 70s, that was pretty groundbreaking. And I think that momentum has just carried it through the decades. And, mafia films and crime films have become, a standard. It's a genre, a subgenre of films. And I think The Godfather sort of, is just sort of the standard for that. People point to it as one of the best, or the best, actually. And it's hard to argue with. So that's, and I understand, if it's just not your thing, it's not your thing.
Right.
But I think it's kind of indicative of its time.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said real quick, Tiny, about it being kind of a window for the general public into the inner workings of organized crime and stuff. I mean, it's based on Mario Puzo's book, but I haven't read it. But
right.
But it also in that case, the character Johnny Fontaine is based on Frank Sinatra, as far as I know.
Right.
I think that's kind of interesting that you kind of see that kind of thing, because in the movie he appeals to the Don to get this part in this movie, and that's where the iconic scene of the horse head in the bed comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also, I think, part of the lore of the film, if you will, is the fact that there's sort of a whole, just like any other nationality or group of immigrants to the United States, there's a bit of a subculture to each group of immigrants, the Polish, the Italian, the Irish, the Germans, and the Italians have a pretty unique, way they handle things and how they treat their families and how they act, how they do everything. And I don't think the American public had much of an exposure to that.
Yeah.
Just like every other group as well. There was Italian prejudice for a long time.
Yes.
It's unavoidable. It happens with any group. And I think the general public hadn't really given Italians a shot until that point, and they didn't really know much about them. And this film emphasizes family so much, and that's so representative of Italian subculture. They're Italians are very loyal. I don't want to, make a generalization, but that's kind of a nice thing to say about a group of people, is they emphasize how you're linked to your family and how that's the most important thing in life. And I don't know if the general public at that time had really, made that connection with the Italian subculture. And of course, this film actually is not very kindly representative of Italians, because these guys they're not good guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, when the film was made, there was a lot of uproar from the Italian community that it was very anti-Italian.
Really?
And painted them in
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. I looked at some of the trivia for it, and there were actually some Italian politicians across the country who absolutely submarined it and said it was terrible and it was a borderline racist film and stuff like that. So,
Wow.
which I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Well.
I think that's another thing of why another reason why it's such a highly regarded film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Mike, did you actually did you like Marlon Brando's performance at least?
Yeah, for me it was this sounds so bad. Please don't crucify me. It was such a forgettable movie for me that I'm even having trouble remembering most of it.
Wow.
And I remember recognizing everybody and acknowledging the good performances, but man, I tell you, something about it really just did not click with me.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
I recommend giving it another shot.
You guys just both said, interesting, huh?
Yeah. We're trying to be nice.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're crazy.
Interesting. You.
Exactly.
I have been trying to tone down the use of interesting, because I say that a lot.
I know. We all do. We all do.
Yeah.
It's like if we were on the Nerdist, it's our amazing.
Yes, it's our amaze balls.
There you go.
Amaze balls.
Which
It's
I
our
think he only
balls.
said it once, but
Yep.
yeah. So
I'm sorry. I know that I need to see it again. I know that I need to see it with fresh eyes, with the eyes of an adult, with the eyes of someone who has more of an appreciation for cinema as an art rather than just an entertainment piece. I will see it again. I just don't know why. When?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
okay.
And I recommend the Blu-ray they released 5
Yeah.
or 6 years ago. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
I'm on
It
it.
looks like it was made 5 years ago.
Yep. I posted on the Facebook page like a long time ago, but because I popped it in, this was several months ago. I popped it in, and like I posted on it that like the Francis Ford Coppola Blu-ray collection of all 3 movies, or of the Godfather collection, is great. It comes with the Godfather Part 2, and this nice coaster, and it was just a picture of the Godfather Part 3. Because
that's awesome. Yeah, the third one is not as good.
No. But then again, I mean, how do you follow up 2 classics, two just incredible movies, which I'm sure at a later date, The Godfather Part 2 will be thrown into this vault discussion, but...
Yeah. That's what's funny about it is the third film it's not a bad movie. It's just not incredible like the first 2 are.
Right. From what I heard, this is going on a bit of a tangent, but I think the original intention was to have Robert Duvall's character, Tom Hagen, have him be like kind of the new, kind of have him come up and be like the new
The New Dawn?
Yeah, kind of have him replace it, or replace Michael, I guess. But then I think Robert Duvall didn't want to come back or something like that.
I see.
And we lost Mike.
No, we didn't. I'm back.
Oh, good.
He just really hates The Godfather.
That movie. That movie. Don't you remember, Matt, watching it, or when I watched it?
Vaguely.
And I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I think I do remember that.
Now, when I say I didn't get it, I don't mean I didn't understand it.
Right. You just didn't.
I don't want listeners to think, man, he's an idiot. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
I just didn't get the fervor over it.
Yeah.
The aura of greatness.
Yeah. I don't get why it'd be a vault movie. Does it hold up?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Will it be a vault
I'll
movie
give you
forever?
that it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that it is kind of a long movie.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that could have been edited to streamline it a little bit. For example, Michael Corleone's time that he spends in Italy.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
While it's interesting and it's kind of an interesting evolution for the character.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, it bogs down the story a little bit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It was my grandpa's favorite movie.
Oh.
And he would talk about it every now and then, and my mom and I would always be like, why?
And it just the film has so many iconic scenes in it. Where Michael kind of plunges himself into the crime world, where he goes to the restaurant and has the meeting, if you will. And just when Sonny gets shot.
Yes. The toll booth scene.
That's just, I mean, it's been replicated so many times.
Yeah.
That's how legendary that scene is.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Wow.
That's Hank Azaria.
Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, there's just so many scenes that have become standard, have become ubiquitous in the film industry, and they're as a result of this film.
Right.
So I think it deserves a place in the vault.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Solid choice. And
I rest my case.
Solid like pudding.
Jeez.
Wow.
I'm gonna tear you a new one.
Yeah.
Mike.
We're finally gonna start getting hate mail. I'm so excited.
We'll see.
Well, that's good. All right, so the Godfather has been entered into the discussion. Mike, how about you? What's your pick for this
Shall I?
season?
Okay, I want to talk about the greatest movie of all time, Avatar. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about Titanic. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about Transformers.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to talk about Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I'll stop.
now I wish we lost Mike.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to talk about Pulp Fiction.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Pulp Fiction. I have all kinds of evidence for why Pulp Fiction should be in the vault. For starters, most of the users on the Internet Movie Database which is on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Have voted it number 4 in the top 250 movies. Right, so there's the top 4. It came out, of course, in 1994, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring several people, including Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, Harvey Keitel, Bruce Willis. I don't know, so that's off the top of my head. Great movie. It's when I watch it, it's the fastest 154 minutes ever. It's one of the movies that made me love movies. I love it because it revitalized John Travolta's career. When you talk about Pulp Fiction, you almost can't talk about it without saying, "Oh yeah, the movie that brought Travolta back into the public consciousness."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I love it's a reaction to big action movies of the 80s. It kind of scaled it back and focused on the dialogue. If Quentin Tarantino's known for one thing, it's his dialogue.
Yeah.
And this is probably the best example of that. Pulp Fiction is.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that it's a movie about what bad people do or what bad people talk about on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
We never saw anything like that before. And people have been copying it since. It's really heavy on the Sam Jackson, and I read one time that Quentin Tarantino thinks of Samuel L. Jackson as almost his muse. He reads Quentin Tarantino's dialogue better than anybody else reads it. So I just like the idea of a movie that features that person heavily, and that's absolutely Pulp Fiction. I want to add that Godfather is number 2 on that top 250 list, by the way.
Dang it. I was going to throw that in your face.
Yeah, sorry. The Pulp Fiction changed movies, I think. Changed movies forever. It went back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mentioned the big action movies in the 80s. This was a reaction to that. And the 90s and on was defined by what Pulp Fiction did to movies in 1994. They're still copying it. It was a defining movie of the decade. If you say list 3 movies from the 1990s, if you ask 100 people, 99 of them are going to mention Pulp Fiction, unless they weren't born in the 90s or they're stupid. It has one of the most memorable movie soundtracks, at least I can think of. I love that it took Quentin Tarantino's success from Reservoir Dogs, and he actually exceeded that.
Yep.
You know, he kind of had a lot stacked up against him. True Romance was kind of successful. He didn't direct it; he just wrote it. Right. But he definitely hit it out of the park with Pulp Fiction. Of course, the obvious ones, it blended humor with violence, which is really good. I guess that's kind of the dialogue. Probably most obvious of all is the nonlinear storytelling, which is most copycatted, I guess, if that's a word.
It is now.
From Quentin Tarantino's career, they just have copied that since. I love if you dig deep enough that there are messages. I love the mysteries, like what's in the box. That's I'm not talking about Seven,
right?
What's in the briefcase? Yeah. I just love the idea that, spoiler alert, John Travolta's character dies at the end.
Yeah.
But it's because perhaps he didn't believe in divine intervention, and he decided to continue to walk the path of the evil man rather than the righteous man at the end. And when they're in the diner and Jules is saying, I'm leaving the game, and Vincent Vega decides not to. So I think that's why he dies. But that again, that's just my interpretation. I love that there are multiple interpretations of that. We can talk about that if you want. I got 2 more points left.
Okay.
It brought in the phrase "I'm gonna get medieval on your ass" into the American vernacular. And I want to add one more, that my personal favorite is Eric Stoltz as Lance, the drug dealer.
Oh yeah.
I love how ridiculously real yet harebrained he is. And just when he's like yelling at his girlfriend to get the book, the doctor book, is brilliant. It's my favorite scene in the movie. As listeners know, we've mentioned before that my wife and I were 2 characters from Pulp Fiction, and we focused on that scene
for
to
Halloween.
do it. So, Pulp Fiction is my submission for the fall 2013 Obsessive Viewer season vault movie.
Nice. Very good pick.
Yeah, you hit it out of the park there.
Thanks.
Although I will say that I think that the reason that Vincent Vega dies is because he was taking a dump.
You're right.
Because bad things happen when he goes to the bathroom.
That's true.
And when you leave your Uzi in the kitchen, you could have just set it on the sink in
Very
the
true.
bathroom.
Good point.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction. That's a. I just didn't really get it.
Yeah.
What? Just kidding.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't really give you any friction on that.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think it's. I like that you said that it was the film that defined the 90s, because that's when I think of a movie from the 90s. What's the best movie from the 90s? There's no other answer than Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction and Can't Hardly Wait.
Can't hardly wait. Yeah. But I mean, I really can't do that for a lot of decades. You know, if you were to ask me what the defining movie of the 70s was, I'd say Rocky. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of answers. Now, I don't mean to discredit The Godfather. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
It came out in 1972. That's not what I mean when I say that.
Right.
It's just that maybe there were a lot of great movies from the 70s, and also The Godfather is not really about the 70s.
It's a period
Very
piece,
true.
right? It doesn't work. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, spot on.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, even the 2000s. I mean, Lord of the Rings, maybe, but no, not Lord of the Rings.
Nah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
that Pulp Fiction is definitely unique in that way.
Yeah.
And
I think to call back an earlier episode, I said I think if you said the 80s, people would say The Breakfast Club.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 80s and 90s were both two decades that were very, like, they're very distinctive, I guess. So to assign a movie to define those decades is very, really any decade is quite a big thing to say about a movie, and I agree 100% that Pulp Fiction defined it.
Yeah.
The 90s.
Nice.
When did you guys first see Pulp Fiction?
Whew. It was probably high school. Well, it was definitely high school. I don't know what the context of it was, but I do remember kind of I think it was like a week before graduation. Like, I'd seen it at that point several times, but I remember, Tiny, maybe you'll remember. I think you may have been there. You were there, I'm sure, but it was like the day before something for graduation, like graduation week. A bunch of us were at someone's house when we were watching it. I know our friend Schwint was there. I think it was at Barlow's house, Tiny. Do you remember this?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah.
I was so wasted all the time back then.
And plowing chicks and stuff.
Exactly.
Drinking chicks and plowing beers.
Yeah.
No, but it was. I just remember that because it was like an early morning thing. I don't remember the context of it at all, but I just remember watching it, and I just, like, that's a movie that you can not a movie you can throw on at any time, but it's a movie that no matter the context of seeing it, you watch it and you like, it's entrancing.
Yeah.
It's a movie that you watch to completion each time you see it, no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely. It's one of the very, very, very few movies where if I caught it on TV, I'd stop and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that for very many movies these days.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great choice because you're right. It changed the way films could be made. It was not just from a commercial standpoint, but from an artistic one, because you mentioned the non-linear storytelling. That had never really been done, and it definitely had never been done so well.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, people didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pulp Fiction put that technique on the map, and it's the best example of it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can that's really in the arena.
Yeah, and the fact that a movie like that could reach such a point to where it has just the mass appeal factor, and it's so well liked and so loved by so many people.
It really is, and
it's
cross
impressive.
generation.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my mom's favorite movies. I know even students who are now a different generation, and some of them are a decade plus younger than I am, and they love the movie.
Yeah, and
there's few of them, but I imagine soon they will discover it and love it.
Yeah, absolutely. You teach sophomores?
I teach sophomores. Yeah.
Yeah, that was about the time when I saw it, and
yeah, me too.
That was when I was seeking out movies. So
yep.
Yeah, and that's something that like we said. I mean, in an earlier episode, I think, and we may have talked about it here, but people see this movie and it makes them love movies. It's what an entire generation says. Like if you say like, what's a movie that got you into movies? It's Pulp Fiction for a lot of people, and then. And it's going to be the same thing. People are going to be on podcasts in like a decade and be like, about 5 or 10 years ago, I saw Pulp Fiction, and that was the best movie I ever saw, and it made me want to watch more movies.
Yep. I had favorite movies before, and I was into movies before Pulp Fiction. In fact, it was because I was into movies that one of my friends, Sam Chumley, either my sophomore or junior year of high school, introduced Pulp Fiction to me and said, if you love movies, you got to see this movie. But it was the first movie, absolutely, where I cared who directed it. And then after that,
yes.
I sought out movies by that director. That's not to say, of course, that I didn't know that Star Wars were directed by George Lucas. I did, of course, knew that Jurassic Park was directed by Steven Spielberg. But I didn't seek out a director's work until Pulp Fiction. And then immediately I saw True Romance. I saw Reservoir Dogs. I even saw Jackie Brown, which I still love but haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. It holds up a little better with age. I wasn't a big fan of it when I first saw it. But I watched it again back in January, and it was okay. It was solid.
It was. I am gonna say I saw Pulp Fiction sophomore year because I remember my end of my junior year and in the middle of my senior year. Kill Bill was an event. That was an event. I had to see that.
Nice.
Couldn't wait.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw it when I was in junior high, actually.
Really?
Oh wow.
That's the first time I saw it. Yeah, and I liked it when I was in junior high, but I don't think I comprehended its importance and everything. Its art until I was a little bit older.
Right.
Yeah. And it's such a quotable.
I remember
movie,
it
too.
being.
It's such a what?
It's such a quotable.
I remember
movie.
it being. Sorry.
Nice.
It is a cool movie. Can I say what I was gonna say?
No.
No.
You didn't like The Godfather. No.
I remember it
Just
being
kidding.
released at Blockbuster or like Video in Motion, whatever the hell it was called, where I grew up, on like the same weekend or the same day as Mortal Kombat.
Oh wow.
And being excited to rent Mortal Kombat, and then like seeing the Uma Thurman poster and having a boy girl moment.
Nice.
in the backseat of my mom's car, like, what is that? Let's rent that one.
Nice.
That's funny.
Okay. Yeah. So, any other words about Pulp Fiction?
I don't know if I have any words specifically. I think I made my piece, but I love Pulp Fiction. I think most people love Pulp Fiction, so I submit Pulp Fiction as my vault movie.
All right. So now we have on the floor The Godfather and Pulp Fiction. All that remains is my pick, which I will get into right now. For the Obsessive Viewer Podcast's consideration into the inaugural Vault movie, whatever, I submit to you the incomparable adventure comedy time travel movie Back to the Future.
Oh,
Ooh.
man.
Starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Wow, I can't off the top of my head. I didn't do any prep work. Wow, what is his name? Oh my God, the dad. Don't tell me.
Oh, Crispin. Oh, sorry.
Crispin Glover. I'm so glad that you
sorry.
actually said it because I was gonna have a
I'm not
bunch
sure.
of dead air trying to think of it. But
Don't tell
Crispin
me.
Glover,
Don't tell
Leah
me.
Thompson.
Don't tell me. Click, 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 click. Don't tell me. I'm thinking of it. Click, 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 click.
Oh, autocorrect. I didn't mean Brick to the Future. I don't know.
Yeah.
But-
Leah Thompson. Did you mention Leah Thompson?
Leah Thompson. I did. Yeah. All right.
And Tom Wilson.
Tom
with
Wilson.
Tannen. Yep.
Who does fun side note? He does stand up now, or he's does
Yeah.
stand up, and he I guess he has like a little laminated card that he hands to
Yeah.
people when they see him and all that, and it's basically just in fine print, just like just answers to all of the most asked questions about Back to the Future. It's like, yeah, I enjoyed working with Michael J. Fox. No, I don't know much about Eric Stoltz or like all that, like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen his song? Have you seen him do the song?
No.
Oh, Google the song about Back to the Future. His song.
Okay.
Awesome.
Nice.
But why do you want this to be in the vault?
Because as time and again, there are movies that I will throw on and I'll become a kid again. I'll just fall in love with it and go crazy, and it's like it affects my mood. There are certain movies that will affect my mood, and Back to the Future is one of them. It's because I mean I've always had like a thing about time travel in general, and it's just I love it. I love it just as an idea, as a narrative device, even though it's used poorly in a lot of things. But I just love it. There's something about it that I just connect to. But with Back to the Future, it's like it's the one time where I watch like a time travel movie, and the time travel is secondary to the characters and the interactions and the comedy of it, because Michael J. Fox's Marty McFly is just phenomenal. I mean, he strikes such a perfect tone between kind of this pretty cool guy, but he's exasperated about a lot of things, and he's trying to get control of this situation. And that's another thing, is that if you watch each one of the Back to the Future movies, they get to such a point of just such a point of like intensity in their stories. Like, I mean, like every time I see it, I get like a little bit like my blood pressure rises slightly when they're about to when the tree falls on the cable and Doc has to come down and connect it and all that. Even though I know that they're gonna make it, and Marty's gonna be fine. It's like how many things can go wrong in this one.
It's very
thing.
effective.
Yeah, and I love it. Christopher Lloyd is just fantastic. Leah Thompson, the way that she plays this like lovelorn teenager that's going after her son that she doesn't know is her son. It's a really fun movie, and it's something that will affect my mood, and it'll cheer me up if I'm like feeling down or anything like that. Yeah, and it's I don't know, like, and I watched it pretty late actually. Like, it's kind of weird because I watched it also in high school, which and like I bought the box set DVDs, and like I watched all the special features and I watched the commentaries and all that. I watched the commentaries multiple times. It was one of those movies that I'd come home from school and I'd watch it. And it was just, it's never gotten old. I've watched it. I can't calculate how many times I've watched it since I first saw it, and it never gets old with me. Yeah. When did you guys first see it?
I was a kid when I first saw it. I mean, I was probably like 7 or 8. I was young when I saw it.
Wow.
And just I was the same way. I fell in love with the movie. I think I think it's one of those movies that every time I see it, I have to watch it. You know, it's like, And there was a time where it seemed like they were showing that movie every weekend on like TNT or something. And so I've probably seen that movie all the way through at least 20 times, maybe like 30, just because it's just one of those movies that I love watching. It's always fun. It doesn't really get old, like the way you said.
Right.
And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
It becomes timeless.
Yeah.
Mike, how about you?
I don't know that I've mentioned before. Have we done a favorite movies episode on here?
Have we?
Not yet.
No, not like favorite movies.
Back to the Future is my favorite movie.
Nice.
And I don't know. I might have mentioned it before or mentioned it in passing. I don't know. Back to the Future is my favorite movie. It has been for a long time my sole favorite movie. For most of high school and college, I would say that my three favorites are Rocky, Halloween, and Back to the Future. But in recent years, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I just for the sake of conversation, making conversations short, which is not what I'm doing right now. I would just, if somebody said, "What's your favorite movie?" It's hands down Back to the Future. For me, it was a movie I like to call a babysitter movie, which is when mom wants to do something, she puts on this movie, and I sit there. My Uncle Doug would record movies, like, make VCR copies of movies for us, and he made us, for my brother and me, he made the Back to the Future 1 and Back to the Future 2 on one tape, and so we would put that in and literally watch it once a day.
That's
we would just put that in, and that so it was a movie I've been obsessed with for a long time. Now, when I was that young, clearly I couldn't understand everything that was happening, and I didn't get it, and I couldn't appreciate it for what it really was.
Right.
I didn't really decide that I adored it. I mean, it didn't become my favorite movie until the DVDs came out, and I want to say I was in 8th grade when that happened. And so when the DVDs came out, I was like, oh man, I love this movie when I was a kid. I can't wait. And I just consumed them, watched them multiple times on DVD, and took them to college with me and watched them multiple times. I'm not going to take a guess like you did, Tiny, at how many times I've seen it, but I mean, I can't count it how many times I've seen it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, I had the great fortune in 2010, I think. I could be wrong.
Yes. I'm still jealous about this. Go
to
ahead.
see it in movie theaters, and it plays so well still.
Yeah.
You would not believe how well this movie played. It might be because audiences who go to see these things, like old movies that come back in theaters, generally tend to behave themselves because they're there for that movie and they're excited about it. But I can't remember a more pleasant movie-going experience. I mean,
Nice.
I was probably seeing it for the 40th-ish time, and I was still wowed by it and surprised and incredible anxiety at the climactic scene with the tree you spoke of, Matt.
Yeah.
It still plays so well, and I think it will always play. And I just think it's a fantastic, as timely as it is, considering it's the 80s. It's the theme of what it would be like to see your parents is so timeless.
Yeah.
The jokes are timeless.
Absolutely.
Being a teenager, Marty as a teenager, that is timeless. It's just it will always be a vault movie.
Yep. It's I love it, and I'm so happy that there's a website. There's a website that it's like has Back to the Future been remade yet? And it's like just it's just like you go to it and it's basically like it just says like no, and it's like thank God no or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious, and that's one thing that like we say it's timeless, and that's why it doesn't need to be remade. It's have they remade Back to the Future yet.com.
Let me go further why it shouldn't be remade. Because if they remade it now, they would have to set it in modern times. They would have to.
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
right?
no question.
And if he went back, 30 years from now to the 80s, to 1982 or 83 or whatever, 84 or whatever, there was a significant difference between 1955 and 1985. We're talking the Cold War. We're talking civil rights. We're talking the summer of 55. We're talking the summer of love. The entire 60s, the entire 70s. Just humongous changes in young America, right? A young country. The difference between the 80s and now, not that different.
I remember freshman year, we had very, very long discussions about this.
Yeah.
And I completely agree. Now, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, there's not much. The only thing that would be really cool to see is the technology aspect. And in the original movie, that's just a small, I mean, that's still there, but it's a small part of it, but it's not enough to carry it.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, between 1955 and 1985, you had revolutions.
Yes.
You had-
Exactly. That's the word I was
you
looking
had-
for.
Yeah, you had social revolutions. You had the civil rights movement.
Yep.
And, the whole peace movement and stuff like that. And
Yep.
we haven't really had anything like that
Right.
in that amount of time.
Right.
The biggest event would be, like 9/11, how that kind of changed the world.
Yeah.
But that's
And that stuff.
that's huge. But
Yeah, that stuff subtly is in the movie. I mean, Mayor Goldie Wilson, the idea that a
Yeah.
black man would be mayor, and of
Yeah.
course he is in the 80s, that stuff wouldn't play now.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean I agree that it could not be remade as well because it's
No.
too it just holds up too well.
Yeah.
There's just I mean even like something as simple as the special effects, they still look pretty good.
They really do.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's I don't think it would bother a younger crowd
Yeah.
if you will.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just such a great movie. There's Robert Zemeckis just made so much. He used tension really well, like Matt said, when Doc Brown has to make the connection at the very last second,
Right.
you feel it every time you watch the movie,
Yeah.
Yep.
or as Marty starts to disappear while he's up on stage playing Earth Angel, it's just amazing filmmaking. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
I cheer when McFly punches Biff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
It's
and
awesome.
and that's exactly why I'm jealous of you for seeing it in the theater, because I want to
Yeah.
see it in
And
a
the
theater.
people applauded.
Did they? Ah, that's so awesome.
Oh my god, it was beautiful. It was honestly beautiful. I tell the story. That was the same semester that I taught a science fiction class,
Nice.
which was really cool. And I offered it as I might have told this story to you guys before. I offered it as extra credit to go to the movie, and some of the kids complained that I didn't offer enough extra credit. Which I was
Wow.
pissed, by the way. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But even a couple of the kids went, and they were like, "Mr. White, that was awesome." I'm
Nice.
like, yeah, of course it was. It's amazing.
cool.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
What about one of the great tragedies of the internet? Is this picture going around of the
yes.
DeLorean's dashboard? Today is the day that so and so goes to the future. Where are our hoverboards?
Funny thing is,
Oh my
that-
god, they pissed me off.
Yeah. Funny thing is that we're recording this on November 10th, 2013, and this is the day that he goes into the future.
For the record, it is October 21st, 2015.
Yes.
Okay? Please remember that.
Yes.
That is the day he goes. That is as far into the future as that it takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Ugh.
That's it. It is October 21st, 2015. It is not 2013,
Right.
right? It is not. It is 15.
Yeah.
And it's easy to remember because it's all 30 years backward or 30 year forward. I don't understand. The movie came out in 85. I don't understand the confusion and why people get so excited about this.
I really don't understand it either, and it gets me so angry. Like I remember when I was visiting you one day. One day. I think it was back in. Was it this year or last year?
I don't know.
But anyway, I was visiting you, and like I was in your living room, and I think you were like in the kitchen or something. And then I was like I just started like I don't know if I yelled, but I like freaked out. I was like, no, this. Why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this a thing? I don't understand it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where that happened. Now I'll say I have seen on like November 5th when people say today is the day that Doc invented time travel, let's celebrate.
I've seen that, yeah.
That I'm okay with.
Yeah. It's just when they get the years, ugh. I don't understand it. I really don't.
I don't either. I don't get where that came from, why that started.
Yeah. But
The internet has the ability to ruin anything.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
It is a great resource and a great tragedy.
Yes.
The internet.
Yep. So yeah, technical aspects we touched on it, but obviously it's a great movie, timeless, has a lot of really even now the special effects hold up, all that stuff. And it's just a great piece of writing and acting and special effects. Everything comes together and it works really well together to make a movie that you can't not watch when it's on, for me.
Yep.
So yeah, and I recommend checking out the box set, Blu-ray box set for it, because it's really good. Yeah. Although the packaging is really weird, it annoys me, but yeah. So that's my entry to the vault discussion. So on the floor we have The Godfather, we have Pulp Fiction, and we have Back to the Future, and it's very hard to choose.
It is.
Between
how do we do this?
We're flying by the seat of our pants. So I say that we've each put forward our own. So we'll go down the line and each one will pick one of the other ones.
Okay.
That's
fair.
So
okay.
Yeah. So
we'll start again with Tiny.
Yes.
Besides The Godfather, which movie would you like to put into the vault? Pulp Fiction, as suggested by me, Mike. I am at Mike White on Twitter. Or Back to the Future, as suggested by Captain Matt at Obsessive Viewer.
I'm actually going to go with Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction. Okay, why?
Because it's Pulp Fiction.
Why over Back to the Future?
I think I thought Pulp Fiction was slightly more revolutionary than Back to the Future. I think Back to the Future is a little more of a fun, borderline nostalgic movie. At least that's how I view it. But I'm not saying one's better than the other, but Pulp Fiction's better. I don't know. I just got to go with Pulp Fiction. I think it's a more revolutionary movie. I think it's a slightly more complicated, more of a feat in my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Pulp Fiction for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I have to choose between Back to the Future, which is my favorite movie of all time,
Right.
and The Godfather, which I probably need to get to see again. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Back to the Future for reasons stated earlier. It's my favorite. I can't even say that you know how like you might qualify it by saying, well, Godfather's the better movie, but I have a this and that connection with Back to the Future. I remember not enjoying Godfather so much that I can't even say that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Back to the Future.
That's fair.
Mr. Matt Hurt,
yes.
You gave us Back to the Future, so which movie would you like to put into the vault? Pulp Fiction or The Godfather?
Let's see. I'm trying to tally how this works, because does this come down to me? Because we're basically doing best.
No, it doesn't come down to you.
It doesn't? Okay, because
we're... Let me say this. Should I say or no? Or should we just vote? Because I have the tallies and I know what will happen.
Okay. Don't say, but okay. I'm doing it now. Oh, I need to decide which one I'm going to do. Pulp Fiction or The Godfather? I've got to go with... Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, I think Matt has
this
the
is
toughest
Sophie's choice.
It's really tough.
Which, by the way, is my other vault pick. I'm kidding, of course. Let's set the stakes right now.
Yeah.
And tell the audience, because you know it. Okay, at this point, Pulp Fiction has 2 votes. Back to the Future has 2 votes, and Matt can't vote for it. So Back to the Future is getting in. The question is Matt going to choose Godfather and split it 3 ways? So we'll have to find a new way to vote. Or is he going to pick Pulp Fiction and Back to the Future go in?
I just realized, like, as you were saying that, I tallied it up on my phone, like on a note, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is a really ineffective way to do this.
It is totally.
So I apologize, listeners, that we are just completely flying by the seat of our pants. But
Quit stalling, Matt. Pick
yes, okay.
JK.
As much as I hate to do this, it's really tough. It's really, really tough. I feel like either way, I'm going to regret it because I feel like the other one should go in. But the thing about it is that, I'll quit stalling. My pick is The Godfather, because it's just, as much as I love Pulp Fiction, and I think that it is a absolute brilliant piece of filmmaking across the board in general, The Godfather just is more of everything, I would say. For me, has kind of a it has more of a it exists more as a fixture of cinema than Pulp Fiction. And it's a brilliant piece of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. 3 movies go into the vault.
Yes.
What do we do? Should we put a poll on the website?
What we could do, and this is obvious bias on my part, but what we could do is let the IMDb top 250 decide which movie has the higher ranking.
Well,
on
then
IMDb.
it would be Godfather and Pulp Fiction, and Back to the Future is out.
We could do that, but I don't know. I don't really take a lot of stake in the top 250, honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So what do? We have 3 movies. We could do a tiebreaker somehow, but I don't know. We would need a 4th person to kind of settle it. So
yeah,
for the introductory vault thing, I don't think it's a problem that we would have 3 movies. We could each put 1 in, and then next season we'll have it hashed out a little better, and we can put in 1 or 2.
Yeah,
that's my choice. So
I like it, and I think all 3 of us agree that all 3 of these films belong in the vault.
absolutely,
sure, that's fine.
Okay,
yeah,
I do definitely.
Yeah,
okay,
no question.
I say we put them all in the vault.
All right.
Yeah.
So
our
awesome.
inaugural vault entries are Pulp Fiction, 1994, Back to the Future, 1985, and The Godfather, 1972.
yes.
Awesome.
Pretty good. Good
Oh,
picks.
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
This was fun.
Should we move on to do some potpourri or?
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do it.
Tiny farted. Let's make it smell nice up in here.
Oh.
Nice. Okay.
It was me.
Yeah, let's.
Well, we reached the end of the show and our weekly segment called Potpourri, where we talk about anything we want to talk about, whatever we're looking forward to, whatever we've seen recently. And this should be good because we're in the thick of November, which is we're getting into the fall TV season, and it's also award season as far as movies are concerned. So there's a lot of good stuff that's out there. So what have you guys been watching, Matt?
Well, let's see. You mentioned the fall TV season. I think I'll bring up The Walking Dead, actually.
Okay.
I know, Mike, I know you haven't watched it and you have no intention of watching it again. And I'm not intending this to be like, oh, you should go watch it, because it's just, if it's not for you, it's not for you. And it's hard to tell if it's for you because it's so inconsistent. But what's striking me about this season is that it's better. It's just better for me.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
It's just, there's more of an emphasis on the characters, and it's weird because the show has emphasized the characters throughout the run of the show, but it hasn't really done it quite as well as it's doing it now. And part of that is that as of yet, there's no real outside threat, if you will. Like the whole
like zombies.
Right. It's basically the zombies are secondary now. They have the society at the prison, and their big conflict is the survivors are battling a flu outbreak.
Uh-huh.
And so when they get sick and they have the flu, they don't have medicine, they die, they come back as zombies. But it's this flu epidemic that's kind of making the tension more escalating and stuff. And then, I mean, there's outside threats of like the fence is weak and stuff, and then the zombies are coming and all that. And there's the standard zombie kill of the week kind of stuff. But it's also it's really cool. And what I liked about the premiere was that they introduced all these new things, all this stuff, and then Scott Gimple was on Talking Dead that week, and he made a point of saying, he's kind of a weird guy, but he made a point of saying that all the character stuff that was introduced in the premiere is carried out throughout the season. Like we see it through to the end for all the characters. They each arc has its own beginning, middle, and end. It all plays out really well, and that's something that I respect fully, because that's something that the show really needs, and it's already kind of showing in the first few episodes. And there's some interesting stuff that's happening and that's going through, like notably the character of Carol. There's been some interesting developments with her character that you don't really see coming, and when you look back and you examine the character, she's grown like considerably. So it's even kind of retroactively improving on past seasons in a way, for me at least. So Mike, I know you haven't been watching it, but Tiny, you have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I agree to an extent. I think it is a good season so far. It's better than last season. I wasn't real crazy about the evolution of Carol, the character Carol, and what's happened with her. It's not, it's interesting, but it's just kind of off to me a little bit. And I'm liking Rick this season. He's had a cool little change of pace for him. I think it's a little bit better. It's not. I don't know if it's great, but it's better, and I'm liking it. I'm looking forward to it every week, which is a little bit better than some of the past seasons. So.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm not going to say it's great. I don't think I said it was great, but it's not. It's good. It's a big improvement over what the show's been. But yeah, and it's I really like it. But I'm not going to call it my favorite show of the season or anything like that.
I would like to. I feel like I owe it to Robert Kirkman to keep trying, but man, I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't. What's
interesting about it is that they've when they had that first Comic-Con trailer for season 4, it's interesting that you can, like, the show has had it's on its third showrunner, and each showrunner seems to have his own kind of vision for it. And you can see, it's interesting how this is one of my first experiences of showrunner switch outs in a series that I follow, at least that I can remember, that was so highly publicized. And it's kind of neat that the show can kind of keep almost to the point of reinventing itself. Almost to that point. And I will say that I'm enjoying the show right now, but a lot of that, it could also be due to the fact that there's no governor in the season so far. So maybe my opinion will change, because they kind of did I don't know how they're gonna go, where they're gonna go with that, but yeah,
right,
yeah. But I'm liking it. Tentatively liking it. Tiny, how about you? What's your potpourri?
My potpourri is actually something that I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
I keep seeing promos for it, and it just gets me more excited every time I see it. It is a show that's coming out on HBO in January called True Detective.
Yes.
It looks really, really cool. Basically, the show is about two detectives who become entangled during a 17-year hunt for a serial killer in Louisiana. I love that. I think one of the most interesting things about it is the fact that it takes place over 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting for one season of television. It looks pretty cool. At least there are rumors that it's. The reason I say one season is because there are rumors that it's going to be like an anthology show, kind of like American Horror Story. Apparently, it hasn't been confirmed yet that that's what it is, but that's what they're saying, and I think that'd be a really interesting idea. Have each season bring in a new detective or a new group of detectives to kind of look at a new crime or a crime spree of some kind, and just the fact that it looks cool. I mean, the promos, it looks really neat. Woody Harrelson is one of my favorite actors, and I love the fact that he's doing television. That he's doing he's doing television when he's so established as a movie star.
Right.
And same goes for Matthew McConaughey. I don't like him as much as Woody Harrelson, but I do like him. I think he can be a good actor, and I'm excited that such a big star is coming to the small screen, if you will. I think that's exciting. Some people think it's whatever, they don't like it, but I think it's exciting because I think TV is so great right now, and this show looks like it has a lot of potential to be great. So I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see it.
Absolutely. Mike, have you seen the trailers for True Detective?
I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, it looks amazing, and I love the idea. I hope that they follow through with this idea, or it's confirmed that I hope that it becomes confirmed that this idea is going to be an anthology show, because I think that the kind of crime genre could really benefit from something like that, like a high quality HBO series that examines like a single crime or a single case each season. Like that's kind of it kind of harkens back to me with to The Wire, which is in my eyes just the greatest show ever. But it's each season had a particular tone, a particular feel, a particular message.
Definitely.
And it feels like they could do something similar with True Detective. And it also seems like True Detective is what they're trying to, what they wanted to do, wanted The Killing to be like.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they succeed with that. Because The Killing is something that always interested me. But I watched like an episode or two and I just kind of fell off of it. And then it's been canceled twice now. So,
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see True Detective, and I highly recommend checking out the trailer, which you can find on ObsessiveViewer.com. Actually, it was one of my Trailer Tuesdays. You can just find it on there. But
awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good. I haven't seen the new trailer, but yeah,
cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice, awesome.
Nice.
Mike, how about your potpourri?
Yeah, I just recently saw Ender's Game.
Okay.
I'm going to step off TV to talk about my potpourri. I saw Ender's Game. I was kind of apprehensive about it. It's been my favorite book ever since I was in junior high. And it's actually the first time I've ever gone into a movie where I cared about the book, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of surprising, I know.
Interesting.
But I was not a Harry Potter fan, and I don't really like Lord of the Rings all that much. So Ender's Game meant a lot to me as a kid, so I was excited to see the movie. And I gotta say, I think it's pretty good.
Really?
It was a weird experience for me, like I said, because I've never cared about a book and then gone to see the movie. So I was surprised in my ability to understand the difference between the two and take the movie as an independent piece of art without the book. I don't know why I just said that. Of course, it's independent. Anyway, as an independent piece of art, and I was actually able to do that. There are, of course, things missing. I wish the movie was about an hour longer, but I thought the performances were good. I think Harrison Ford may be getting a little old, which is unfortunate to say. But other than that, everybody else was great, and I left the movie satisfied enough, and I would recommend it.
That's good. I haven't read any reviews or anything of it, but that's good. I'm glad.
They're pretty mixed.
Really?
Reviews are pretty mixed. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
How was Aja Butterfield? Was he pretty good as Ender?
He was good. Yeah, he again, he was good as a character named Ender. He was not the Ender that I pictured in my head. I picture much younger and much blonder.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one quite a bit.
The visuals look really cool.
Yes, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I won't say much because I'd like to let viewers see it. You could, of course, check the blog and read my adaptations and remake of it that was posted this week.
Yes.
So I'll let you discover that, listeners.
Cool.
Yes. I'll throw a link in the show notes to that.
Cool.
Yeah. And good job, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I know. I slaved over it, really.
Yeah.
It went through a couple drafts. I sent it to you.
Nice.
I sent it back.
Oh.
I liked how it turned out. Thanks.
Nice.
I'm just gonna sound like a joke,
Awesome.
a douche, because the listeners don't get the joke.
Right. I feel like we're time traveling right now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Because we'll keep it in the dark then. I mean, they can infer it, but whatever. Right. Yeah, with Ender's Game, I think in an early episode, one of your first ones on the show, actually, like episode 6 or something, I mentioned that I started reading it, or I don't know if I said it on the air, but I actually...
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did, and I was hoping that it would never come up again because I stopped reading it.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow, okay.
No, let me tell you this though.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up and put down The Shining for the 3rd October in a row now.
Ooh. Wow. So we're
I know.
even. But
We are even, and I will say this: I didn't read anything else. You know what I mean? It's not that I couldn't.
Oh yeah.
Get into The Shining. It's just that
Right.
it did not come at a good time in my life.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't get into Ender's Game. I don't know. I think I'm just too old for it. If I would have read it when I was younger, I would have liked it more probably.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, and I don't know. But yeah.
That's funny because I read it for the first time like 2 years ago and I loved it.
Yeah,
a lot.
Good.
So
Thank you.
Damn it.
yeah,
It's fantastic. It's really amazing.
I really
I
liked
have
it.
no doubt you'll love it if you get through it a little further.
My problem with it was, and I don't want to go on a tangent here or anything, but I felt like it wasn't descriptive enough. It was kind of weird because it was like, now Ender's going into this room to play this game, and he's it's this battle or whatever. And I'm like,
Maybe you just don't have as good imagination as millions of people.
maybe because I went in and I was like, wait, what are the rules of this game? I don't understand what's going on. I was completely bewildered throughout these things. Like, it's like they're playing this other team, and I'm like, how many people are in this team? I don't understand. Like, when I was reading Harry Potter and she talked about Quidditch, I was like, I knew exactly what to
Really?
expect. Yeah. I didn't understand. Like, he talked
Are
about...
you really comparing Ender's Game to Harry Potter?
I'm comparing it. I'm comparing the games within the stories. Does that make sense? Like, there's, like, she invented Quidditch and she described how it was played and everything, and then wrote them playing.
Well,
it.
it's a simpler game for simpler people. Anyway, you're an idiot. Thank you for listening to the episode.
No, but I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
Kidding. I love you, Matt.
Yeah, I know. But I just, like, it was
Everyone is you're allowed to have their own stupid opinions.
right. Yes.
Well, I'll weigh in on it in saying that having read both books and liking both of them in reference to the games within the books, I think the game in Ender's Game is way better than Quidditch. I was never a fan of Quidditch. I always thought it was kind of stupid. But the game in Ender's Game is so cool because it's like training, and it's like it changes every time. It's so different, and it's really important.
From what I could gather, it's like a paintball kind of thing or something, right? Do they have guns?
Sort of.
And they freeze them.
It's kind of like laser tag and zero gravity.
Yeah.
And it's,
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
didn't
even
pick up
cooler.
any of that because all it was when I wasn't paying enough attention while I was reading it because I was reading it at work and maybe I was just tired or something. But it was literally he went into a room and he was playing this game or whatever. I'm like, I don't understand. I have no visualization of the room. I have no visualization of what he's doing or what anyone else is doing. Like my memory, my mental picture was of two lines of like two sides of a room occupied by groups of people, groups of kids shooting something at each other, and it was just an empty room completely devoid of anything. There was nothing. I don't know.
I don't know how you got
awesome.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll try it again, but I really don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird, wild stuff.
Yeah, so I've been holding that in for a while, Mike, and I felt like I should come clean.
It's okay.
But I'm glad you liked the movie. I am, and I'll probably check out the movie because I do want to see it because it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We all did our potpourri, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, should I count us out?
Yep.
Do it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Almost forgot the name of our show. Once again, you can find us on Twitter. I'm Matt at Obsessive Viewer. Tiny is at Obsessive Tiny. And direct all Godfather related hate mail to Mike at I am Mike White. And you can also direct all the Ender's Game hate mail to me and Harry Potter hate mail to Tiny. Wow. We alienated a lot of people this week, guys.
We did.
But and then also I wanted to mention real quick, if you go to podcastland.com and just type in Obsessive Viewer, there'll be a prompt that says to put in your email address to vote for us for Podcast of the Month. It's really quick. You don't have to do anything else. Just put in your email. They won't spam you or anything like that. It just puts us to a vote that each month is Podcast of the Month, and I think it'd be cool if we got like more votes. Not even necessarily Podcast of the Month, but just more votes. But so do that, please. That would do a lot of help for us. And then also you can find us on iTunes and rate us and give us a review. Just let us know what you think, because we value your feedback and we love interacting with the listeners, which you can also do by emailing us at ovpodcast@gmail.com. Like I say every week, anything you want to send us, any topics for discussion, vault movies you might have, and any audio files if you want to weigh in on the discussion, go ahead and send it to us and we'll throw it into the show. Yeah, do all that. Like us on Facebook, Obsessive Viewer, you'll find us on there. Anything else? Did I touch on everything, or?
I think
that does it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
All right, let's start a new recording for it.
Okay.
That was good.
It was good.
That was good. Yeah, I think that was a good episode.
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously we need to work out some things, but
It's going to be like that every time.
that should be like the thing that we do, is we just do that. We're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out next time, and then
Yeah.
the next one we just do it kind of completely on a whim.